If you've been following Coachella gossip, scrolling Instagram stories, and keeping up with Justin Bieber's latest tracks, you've likely seen a new name popping up: Eddie Benjamin. Depending on who you ask, he's Bieber's creative partner, emotional anchor, occasional tourmate, and according to the spicier corners of Reddit, maybe even a reason for Hailey Bieber's famous side-eye. While the rumors fly, Eddie's rise is a mix of raw talent, unlikely friendships, and the kind of Hollywood synergy insiders swear is platonic. So, who is Eddie Benjamin, and what's his intriguing link to pop star Sia? From Sydney side gigs to Hollywood soundboards. Eddie Benjamin, born and raised in Sydney, Australia, arrived in Hollywood already armed with two secret weapons: that unmistakable Aussie accent and an endless supply of effortless cool. Growing up in a home where creativity was the family currency, his mother a dancer and his father a touring drummer, music was practically woven into his DNA. By the age of 14, while most teens were still figuring out the finer points of personal hygiene, Eddie was performing at Sydney clubs as a freelance musician. He even formed a teen band, Hayes Trio, with his classmates, showing musical instincts far beyond his years. Videos from this era capture him playing with the precision of a surgeon. Only his tools were a guitar and a quirky talkbox. His talents didn't stop at performing. Eddie quickly carved out a space as a behind-the-scenes powerhouse, collaborating with major names like Meghan Trainor, Earth, Wind & Fire, and Shawn Mendes. But it was 2022 that truly catapulted him into the spotlight and set the stage for a career-defining connection. Enter Justin Bieber. That year, Eddie landed the gig of opening for Justin's Justice World Tour. If this were a movie, this would be the montage moment where the rock star and the up-and-comer instantly click. Jam sessions, creative brainstorming, and slow-motion laughing over late-night studio snacks. The two formed what can only be described as a Benny Blanco-style bromance. Equal parts music collaboration and buddy comedy energy. Soon enough, Eddie wasn't just a tour opener, he was Bieber's creative confidant. Fast forward to Bieber's Swag album, Eddie co-wrote 11 out of the 21 tracks. That's right, over half the project has Eddie's fingerprints all over it. Some fans were quick to speculate that Eddie was basically Bieber's ghostwriter, while Justin, shall we say, supervised horizontally. Whether that's fair or not, it's undeniable that Eddie's contributions were massive. But wait, where does Sia fit in? Before the Bieber bromance, Eddie's LA story took a surprising turn. He began dating Maddie Ziegler. Yes, that Maddie Ziegler of Dance Moms and Sia music video fame. Maddie's mentor godmother happens to be none other than Sia herself, who swooped into Eddie's life like an Australian fairy godmother in oversized wigs. Sia, who is twice Eddie's age, reportedly took on a maternal role for him in Los Angeles, offering career guidance, industry protection, and a place to live. She's been quoted calling him her Australian son and little pixie, which, depending on your perspective, is either heartwarmingly sweet or just a little eyebrow-raising. Not everyone on Reddit was charmed. Critics pointed out that Sia has a history of housing young, unrelated artists, and some users described the dynamic as boundaryless and odd. One even drew comparisons to celebrity guardianship gone wrong. Still, Eddie has spoken warmly about Sia's support, describing her wisdom and protection as invaluable during his early days in LA. The Hailey factor, and Coachella whispers. Now, here's where things start to feel like a CW drama. Despite no confirmed romantic involvement, Eddie and Justin's closeness has sparked speculation, especially when their public affection is contrasted with Justin's sometimes chilly interactions with Hailey. The most eyebrow-raising moment came at a VIP Coachella party hosted by Charli XCX. According to German singer Bill Kaulitz, who was present, Justin was hardcore cuddling and pawing at Eddie in plain sight, while Hailey sat nearby looking visibly uncomfortable. Bill described the scene as awkward and even joked the two needed to get a room. Cue the sound of 1,000 Reddit threads being born. Of course, Justin has always been a physically affectionate guy, but this incident didn't do much to quiet the online chatter. Some fans insist it's just brotherly love. Others are convinced there's more than just music in the mix. Music, mountains, and speedy albums. Another reason Eddie and Justin's friendship stands out? Their work style. Sources claim that parts of the Swag album were recorded during a recent mountain retreat, meaning they cranked out the bulk of the project in record time, about as quickly as a college student writes a term paper due in 6 hours. This creative sprint led some to question the album's polish. Others admired the chemistry it clearly took to churn out that much content so fast. And through it all, Eddie gushed on Instagram. Made an album with my bestie. My love for this is so deep. So grateful to lean on you as a friend. This has been my favorite musical experience I've had. Sweet, right? Or fuel for the more than friends rumor fire, depending on how you read it. The neurological twist. Adding to Eddie's mystique is his neurological condition, synesthesia, a rare trait where one sense triggers another. For Eddie, that might mean hearing a chord and instantly seeing a burst of color, or tasting a word. It's not an illness, just a unique brain wiring that's often linked to heightened creativity. It could also explain why Justin's musical ears get such high praise from Eddie. He might literally be perceiving their sessions in a multi-sensory way most of us can't fathom. More than meets the Instagram feed, whether you see them as platonic soulmates or something deeper, there's no denying the Eddie-Justin connection is intense. They're together at events, in the studio, and even during downtime. That said, they seem to be strategic about not getting photographed entering places side by side, perhaps to avoid feeding the speculation machine any more than necessary. And while the public's curiosity is at an all-time high, both men remain tight-lipped about anything beyond the music. The official line is that it's a creative synergy. You know, the classic Hollywood you just wouldn't understand our energy explanation. What happens if the bromance breaks? History shows that when Justin has a falling out with a close friend, it tends to make social media waves. If Eddie were ever to leave the inner circle, it's likely we'd all know within hours, complete with cryptic Instagram captions, mysterious song lyrics, and the inevitable unfollow spree. The fandom would go into full-blown detective mode, dissecting every photo, playlist, and subtle shade. For now, though, Eddie's seat at the Bieber table seems secure. And given his talent, industry connections, and fan intrigue, he's likely to remain a major player in Justin's career for the foreseeable future. Unless, of course, another creative prodigy swoops in to steal Justin's attention, because in Hollywood, bromances can be as fleeting as chart-topping singles. Until then, expect Eddie to keep holding that coveted Bieber bestie title and stirring the pot of pop culture speculation. And that's the wild ride of Eddie Benjamin and Justin Bieber's friendship, music, mystery, and maybe a little more. If you enjoyed diving into this bromance drama, smash that like and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the next pop culture tea spill. And ring that notification bell because trust me, you'll want front row seats for what happens next.